In this tutorial, we are going to build a Visual Studio WPF.NET application using the open automation software Wpf Hmi.NET product to visualize tag data. You can download a fully functional version of open automation software at www.openautomationsoftware.com/downloads. The demo version has all product features enabled. If you are no longer in demo mode, you will need a license for Wpf Hmi.NET. I am using Visual Studio Community Edition 2019, but you can use any version above 2010. Open Visual Studio and select Create a New Project. I am specifying WPF App.NET Framework C# as my project type. You can also use VB if you prefer. Click the Next button. I am going to call my project my demo project and have my framework version set to 4.7.2. The OAS WPF Hmi.NET is compatible with framework version 4.6.1 or greater. Click Create. If you have installed Open Automation software after installing Visual Studio, you should see the Open Automation software group in your toolbox. If it is not there, you can add a reference in your project to the OPC WPF dashboard.dll. It will be in your installation folder, most likely C, Program Files, Open Automation Software, OAS. Add the tools by right-clicking on your toolbox and selecting Choose Items. In the Choose Toolbox Items dialog box under the WPF tab, select all of the items that start with OPC WPF and say OK. Next, I'm going to add a viewbox to the main window. If you are unfamiliar with the viewbox control in WPF, it is very useful. By setting its stretch property to uniform, it will automatically transform the contents of it to fit the user's screen. It is easier to develop with the stretch property set to none. I will do that and then change it to uniform at the end. We want to have our grid inside the viewbox, so I will change that here in the XAML. Now I will add an OPC WPF label control to the window by double-clicking on it in the toolbox. I'm going to select my label and go to the Properties window. I will change the Arrange By to Name so that I can look at the properties alphabetically. The Content tag property will set the label's value to the tag property we specify. Clicking on the ellipse opens up the tag browser. I have the demo tag configuration loaded that installs with Open Automation software. Here, I will first select my network node. The OAS server that I am accessing is installed on my local machine, so I will select localhost. If it was a remote instance, I could specify an IP address or a registered domain name. Here are some examples of referencing tags based on their location. Please be aware that tag names are case sensitive. I'm going to select this ramp tag and its value property and say OK. You can choose to display any property of the tag, but value is the most commonly used. The ramp tag has a data type of double float. Next, I'm going to add a button to the window by double-clicking on OPC WPF button on the toolbox. I will use the pump tag to demonstrate the button. It is a Boolean data type. I'm going to set the content tag in the Properties window to pump.value. You can just enter the tag name instead of using the tag browser if you know its name. In the Content Format Boolean False property, I am going to enter the pump is off. And in the Content Format Boolean True property, I am going to enter the pump is on. That way, the button text will be something more meaningful than simply true or false. To change the color of the button when its value changes, we can use the background 01 tag property. I will set it to pump.value. You can see below these properties define what colors to use. I will just leave them as the default green, yellow, and red. We need to set the set value tag property to pump.value. This specifies what value to change when the button is clicked. The last control I'm going to add is the radial gauge. I will drag an OPC WPF radial gauge onto the screen. Next, click the ellipse next to the needles property. This will open the needles collection dialog box, and I will click the Add button. This adds a needle to the radial gauge. I will set the value tag property to ramp.value, my ramp tag again. It is a float data type, so I will enter 0.00 for the value format float property. We now have 3 controls on our window. I will switch the viewbox stretch property to uniform now that we are done developing. Tidy things up a bit and hit F5 to run my project. You can see the label is displaying our ramp value as well as the radial gauge. The button is showing that our pump is on, and if I click it, it turns the pump off. For more information on Open Automation software, please visit our website at www.openautomationsoftware.com.